and welcome back to another video. My name is Kizzy and today I'm going to be doing my most anticipated releases for 2022. It's that time of the year again. I've done till April time-ish, I think. I have 8 books and they start from January to April. Yes, the end of April. So I'll probably do another video when it's in April, coming up to May, June, July, August time. Just because these are the ones I found and they just all happen to be in the first 4 months of the year, so it made sense. So, starting with The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin. Sorry, my computer's over here, so I'm just gonna be like looking this way. Su Lin Tan. The cover is gorgeous. We've got, okay, I think the American edition is the one I'm thinking of, and it is gorgeous. The UK one is still very pretty, but it just there's something about the American one that it looks stunning. But this is inspired by Chinese mythology and the kind of moon goddess. But growing up on the moon, Xingyi is accustomed to solitude, unaware that she has been hidden from the feared celestial emperor who exiled her mother for stealing his elixir of immortality. But when Xingyi's magic flares and her existence is discovered, she is forced to flee her home, leaving her mother behind. Alone, powerless, and afraid, she makes her way to the celestial kingdom, a land of wonder and secrets. Disguising her identity, she seizes an opportunity to learn alongside the Emperor's son, mastering archery and magic, even as passion flames between her and the prince. To save her mother, Xingyi embarks on a perilous quest, confronting legendary creatures and vicious enemies across the earth and skies. But when treachery looms and forbidden magic threatens the kingdom, she must challenge the ruthless celestial emperor for her dream, striking a dangerous bargain in which she is torn between losing all she loves and plunging the realm into chaos. I think this is her debut novel because looking on her website I can't find any other books that she's written. Don't know why I said that so weirdly. So it'll be exciting to see what she has to offer. That comes out on the 11th of January 2022, so that's very soon, very exciting. The next book I have is one by Tahara Mafi, and I haven't actually read anything by her. I don't know why. I know she's very popular, she's very good. I just never read anything. And then I picked up a book from work, or like a uncorrected proof copy, something that was sent to work, and I decided to pick it up because I've never read any Tahara Mafi and it sounded interesting. So it is This Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. I've said her name about 100 times now. And that comes out on the 1st of February 2022. There's forbidden romance, clashing empires, long forgotten queens destined to save her people, and it's a romantic trilogy inspired by Persian mythology. So I think it follows Elise, who is a servant but apparently the long-lost heir to an ancient Jin kingdom, forced to hide in plain sight, and the crown prince Kamran, who has prophecies. There's prophecies mentioned, but then there's clearly a romance, and so it's perfect for fans of Leigh Bardugo. Tomi Adeyemi and Sabatahir and Leigh Bardugo are 2 of my favourite authors. I'm all there for this one. It sounds exciting, and I haven't read a fantasy romance in a very long time. Like, you know, when like the romance is the kind of like key part of it, or like a key element to it. I haven't read one of those in a very long time. They're always like, the romances are always kind of like side plots in a lot of the books that I read. So I'm excited to kind of get back to that. I feel like it would be a nice like change in my fantasy reading. So the next book I have is one that is the second book in, I think it's the duology, and that is of course House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J Maas, which when I was reading the synopsis, that comes out on the 15th of February by the way, they used the word sexy a lot, which I don't know why, I just thought it was funny. But it was a sexy, groundbreaking Crescent series is what they've said, so 2 keywords. But obviously this follows Bryce and Hunt as they continue their romantic journey. But I'm excited because I loved Crescent City. Oh, it's not Crescent City, is it? I always call it that. I loved House of Blood and Earth, and I'm very excited to get to the next one. So the next book I have is one that comes out on the 17th of February 2022, and this is Age of Ash by Daniel Abraham. He's not written a book by himself before. He's the co-author of The Expanse, which is another epic fantasy trilogy. I've never heard of it, but this sounds very cool. It sounds very like an idea I had for a book, which has kind of made me a little bit intrigued for it. But it is kind of fully in one city, and it follows a murder, I think, that happens, and a girl, does she know who he is? I don't know. Oh yes, she definitely did know who he was. So when her brother is murdered, a petty thief from the slums of Long Hill sets out to discover who killed him and why. But the more she discovers about him, the more she learns about herself, and the truths she finds are more dangerous than knives. Swept up in an intrigue as deep as the roots of Kithmar, which is the city, Where the secrets of the lowest born can sometimes topple thrones, the story Elise chooses will have the power to change everything. I think it sounds very good, and since he is apparently a critically acclaimed author and a best-selling author, I think it's going to be decent. So the next book I have is a little bit rogue, and I don't think I'd been interested in this book until like the last half of this year, because V.E. Schwab, as if you watched my recent video, was not an author that I typically got along with, but I think I'm coming around. I think I'm almost there with as a V.E. Schwab fan. It seems a little bit dramatic, but I'm interested to see if I can like more of her books. And she has a new book coming out, which is a standalone fantasy called Gallant, and that comes out on the 1st of March. I think it's an urban fantasy. So Olivia Pryor was grown up in Maryland School for Girls, and all she has of her past is her mother's journal, which seems to unravel into madness. Then a letter invites Olivia to come home to Gallant. Yet when Olivia arrives, no one is expecting her, but Olivia is not about to leave the first place that feels like home. It doesn't matter that her cousin Matthew is hostile, or if she sees half-formed ghouls haunting the hallways. Okay, so I'm not a big ghost fan. Again, I don't know why. Something just doesn't really connect when there's a ghost involved, so maybe this is not the best idea. But I'm willing to give it a go. It's apparently a vivid and lush novel that grapples with the demons that are often locked behind closed doors. An eerie standalone saga about life, death, and the young woman beckoned by both. Readers of Neil Gaiman, Holly Black, Melissa Albert, and Gareth Nix will quickly lose themselves in this novel with crossover appeal for all ages. Rogue, that's the rogue one in the thing. I feel like a lot of people probably will have that on their TBR or will be interested in that, so I thought I'd share. So next we have Wild and Wicked Things by Francesca May. This comes out on the 29th of March 2022, and this is like a fantasy, historical fiction fantasy, urban fantasy crossover. It is the aftermath of World War I, and there is illicit magic, blood depth, and murder in a lush and decadent debut novel. It sounds intriguing, like it doesn't sound like the kind of fantasy I would normally read, but I'm all there for it. So, on a Crow Island, people whisper real magic lurks but just below the surface. New to the idyllic summer getaway, Annie Mason is confident those are only rumours. Magic, the kind that leaves soldiers shell-shocked and families heartbroken, has been prohibited since the war ended. Now, the closest anyone gets are party tricks designed for the rich and aimless. Neither real magic nor faux magic interests Annie, not after it stole her furniture. Her future. She's only on the island to settle her late father's estate and hopefully reconnect with her long-absent friend, Beatrice, who fled their dreary lives for a more glamorous one. So it's kind of like I'm getting Gatsby vibes, maybe. Yet Crow Island is brimming with temptation, and the biggest one may be her enigmatic new neighbour. Definitely getting Gatsby vibes. Ugh. Mysterious and alluring, Emmeline Delacroix is a figure shadowed by rumours of witchcraft, and when Annie witnesses a confrontation between Bee and Emmeline at one of Crow Island's extravagant parties, she is drawn into a glittering haunted world. A world where the boundaries of wickedness are tested and the cost of illicit magic might be death. Again, nothing I would normally read. I don't tend to go towards urban fantasy, don't tend to go towards historical fiction, but it sounds cool, doesn't it? I think it sounds good. So that is on there. We'll see how it goes. Next we have April, and this is a book that I am very tempted by. It's by Rory Power, who wrote Wilder Girls, which is a book that I again started and then never finished. So I would like to finish that as well. But this is actually, that was kind of more dystopian fiction, which is again a genre I don't really read anymore. I used to read a lot of it, and I wasn't just really feeling that kind of thing at that time. This, I think, is a fantasy, and it is In a Garden Burning Gold, which I think is a really cool title. It comes out in April, 5th of April, and it's about two twins who have magic and near mortality and will do anything to keep their family safe, even if it tears the siblings apart. It is the first book in a series, and it follows Rhea and Lexos, who have spent an eternity helping their father rule their small, unstable country, using their control over the seasons, tides, and stars to keep the people in line. For 100 years, they've been each other's ally, defending each other and their younger siblings against their father's increasingly unpredictable anger. Now, with an independence movement gaining around their father's rule weakening, the twins must take matters into their own hands to keep their family and the entire world from crashing down around them. But other nations are jockeying for power, ready to cross and double-cross, and if Rhea and Lexos aren't careful, they'll end up facing each other across the battlefield. So not much information there, but I'm intrigued. I like the title, I like the cover. I'm there. The next book, it comes out on the 28th of April. I think this is my last book of the video, and that is Elektra by Jennifer Saint. So she also wrote Ariadne, which is being a very big mythological retelling around at the minute. I haven't read it yet. It is on my imminent TBR, and I'm just excited to kind of read this story in particular because I did a lot of research into it when I was doing my dissertation and a lot of my third year module topics and essays. I read a lot about this story, so I'm intrigued to see a retelling of it because I don't think I've read one specifically following these characters. So it follows 3 characters, I'm assuming from the way they've presented the blurb. Clytemnestra, who is the wife of Agamemnon, he obviously starts or initiates the Trojan War, and to travel to Troy and like appease the gods to let him go there is by killing their daughter. So Iphigenia is their daughter that they sacrifice, and I don't know if we'll get to that point in this because it says the sister of Helen, wife of Agamemnon, her hopes of averting the curse are dashed when her sister is taken to Troy by the feckless Paris and her husband tries to raise an army against them, determined to win whatever the cost, aka the daughter. So Cassandra is the princess of Troy and cursed by Apollo to see the future but never to be believed when she speaks of it. She has powers in her knowledge that the city will fail. Elektra, the youngest daughter of Clytemnestra and Agamemnon, Elektra is horrified by the bloodletting of her kin sister. But can she escape the curse, or is her own destiny also bound by violence? I might refresh and reread some of the plays. I have quite a few. I'm pretty sure I have Elektra. Not sure if I ever read it though. But obviously a lot of the Greek plays, ancient Greek plays, surround this topic. I have read quite a few of them, of the like original source material, so I'm interested. I'm very intrigued by this retelling. I think a little bit more than I am about Ariadne, just because I'm more invested in these characters already to start with, and I know more of their storyline going into it. So kind of seeing a retelling of them is much more interesting because you can pick apart a little bit more compared to the original source. Does that make sense? I don't know. But yes, I'm intrigued by that. That comes out in the 28th of April 2022. I'm going to pre-order it. There's signed editions on Waterstones if you're intrigued. Shall I link I'll link all the books below. So if you fancy pre-ordering any of these books, if I can find them on Waterstones or somewhere like that, I will link them down below and you're welcome to do that. Thank you again for watching. This is the end of the video. If you have any upcoming releases or pre-order releases that you have that you think I would be interested in, please let me know. And I hope you have a good week.